Good evening and welcome to Montclair State University's 2017 Graduate School Commencement Ceremony. At this time, everyone should silence all electronic devices. Graduates, please rise as the processional will now begin. Leading the procession is the Grand Marshal, Professor Domenica Desiderioscioli. She carries the university mace, an ornamental staff symbolizing the president's authority. Now entering the theater are the Gonfaloniers, carrying the college and school flags. The faculty members bearing the gonfalons were selected for this honor by deans of their respective schools and colleges in acknowledgement of their scholarship and contributions to the university. Representing the graduate school is Dr. Brian Carolyn, Associate Dean and Professor. Professor Eric Diamond is representing the College of the Arts. Professor Linda Wise is carrying the gonfalon for the College of Education and Human Services. Professor David Galef is representing the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Professor Stephanie Brockfelt is carrying the gonfalon for the College of Science and Mathematics. The Feliciano School of Business is being represented by Professor Anish Parikh. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Montclair State University President, trustees, officers, and honored guests. And now, we are proud to present our distinguished faculty and staff. Please be seated. Please welcome the President of Montclair State University, Dr. Susan A. Cole.
Good evening, everyone. These are the 2017 Graduate School Commencement Exercises for Montclair State University. I extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests, our graduates, their families and friends, and the university's faculty and staff. The national anthem will be sung by Jordan Wilhelm, who will be receiving his Master of Arts degree in music tonight. Please rise.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Thank you, Jordan. We wish you success in fulfilling your aspiration for a career in vocal performance. You are going to make it. It is my pleasure to congratulate all of the graduates. As you walk across this stage tonight, each of you will represent a unique set of aspirations and accomplishments, and your pride will be shared by the family and friends who have joined you tonight and who have supported you in many ways through your journey. The successful completion of graduate education is a particularly noteworthy accomplishment, and the university's 1,235 students who will have received graduate degrees this year will join a very special group. Nationally, only about 9% of Americans have earned a master's degree, and now it's 9.1%. And only about 1% have earned a doctoral degree. So while this extraordinary accomplishment should give you much satisfaction, it also gives you a heavy responsibility to use the benefits of your education to make positive contributions to your family, to your community, and to the larger world. Education is meaningless unless it is put to use. The intellectual maturity you have gained through your graduate studies has provided you with the grounding to create new knowledge, to apply knowledge to action in the world, and to continue the process of lifelong learning. What you will carry of value with you from this place tonight is not a piece of paper attesting to your degree, but rather the potential and some of the powerful tools you will need to live the kind of life that contributes to the shaping of the world. So this evening, we honor your achievements and celebrate with you, but we urge you to remember that your hard work was not just for this day. The point and purpose of it all extends well into the future. And we will be watching to see where your journey takes you. And now it is time to celebrate. And to help us do that, a number of special guests have joined us on the platform. They are our distinguished honorary degree recipient, Carlos Rodriguez. Also joining us are New Jersey State Senator Anthony Bucco Sr. and Assemblyman Anthony Bucco Jr. right up there. Thank you for being here. Members of our boards of trustees and foundation board of trustees, Christopher Clement, our student trustee, Hassani Council, our student trustee, Mary Comito, Francis Cuss. Are you waving? Yes, okay. Are they waving? Good. Mark de Grand Prix, Lauren Sincera, Kent Slider, the university officers, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Willard Gingrich, Vice President for University Facilities, Sean Connolly, Vice President for Information Technology, Candace Fleming. Are they waving? Wave. Vice President for Student Development and Campus Life, Karen Pennington. Vice President for Finance and Treasurer, John Rosenheim. Vice President for University Advancement, Jack Shannon. Acting Vice President for Human Resources, Junea Williams Edmond. Come on, big wave, big wave. University Counsel, Mark Fleming. Executive Director of Budget and Planning, David Josephson. And the university deans, Dean of the College of the Arts, Daniel Gerskis. Dean of the College of Education and Human Services, Tamara Lucas. Dean of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, Robert Friedman. Dean of the College of Science and Mathematics, Robert Prezant. His last commencement because he's leaving us to go to Southern Connecticut State University, boo. Dean of the Mimi and Edwin Feliciano School of Business, Greg Kant, and we are so pleased that with us tonight are Edwin and Mimi Feliciano. Where are they? Dean of the School of Nursing, Janice Smolowitz. Dean of the Graduate School, Joan Fickey. Dean of Libraries, Judith Lynn Hunt, and Dean of Students, Marjorie Coleman Carter. I now invite Dr. Francis Cuss, Vice Chair of our Board of Trustees, to bring greetings and to present our honorary degree recipient.
Well, good evening and welcome. For 85 years, Montclair State University has embraced graduate education and played a significant statewide role in preparing distinguished professionals. In the 1930s, Montclair State was the first of the state colleges to offer master's degrees. In the 1990s, we became the first of the state colleges to become a university and to offer doctoral degrees. And last year, we became the first of the state colleges and universities to be designated a doctoral research university. These historic changes have transformed Montclair State at every step, establishing and distinguishing our stature as an institution in the fields for which you are being awarded degrees today. You have become part of the history of Montclair State University, and on behalf of the university trustees, I congratulate you and wish you a fulfilling future. It's now my honor to present our honorary degree recipient. May I ask you to direct your attention to the video screen.
Born in Cuba, in a household where I heard from my parents and my grandparents stories about when they were in Cuba, they were entrepreneurs and had businesses, and I was always interested in business. A lot of folks left, fleeing communism, and when I was 3 years old, my family moved to the United States, to Miami, Florida, arriving in this country with just clothes on our backs and a suitcase, and fortunately, this country welcomed us with open arms. Being able to be the CEO of a Fortune 250 company, it's really a remarkable experience. What we're known for is payroll, but we've branched out into a number of other services for employers, including benefits administration, time and attendance systems, anything from hiring an employee to taking them all the way through retirement. I think our volunteerism and our philanthropy, I think, are a way of giving back to the communities that we serve, because we want strong, vibrant communities. Education, it's what opens up the doors to opportunity in this country. All of my predecessors believed in it. It's something that the foundation is a big sponsor of. My experience really has been an amazing one. We really want to describe really as the American dream.
I would ask Provost Gingrich and Grand Marshal to please escort Carlos Rodriguez to the lantern.
Carlos Rodriguez, as President and Chief Executive Officer of ADP, you lead one of the largest and most trusted providers of business services, business analytics, and compliance expertise in the world. Your journey to this position of importance and achievement began when, as a boy, you emigrated from Cuba with your parents, who sought to provide a better life for their family. You pursued your education with diligence, earning Bachelor of Arts and Master of Business Administration degrees from Harvard University. Since joining ADP in 1999, you have served in a number of executive roles and have been President and Chief Executive Officer since 2011. You chair ADP's Executive Diversity Council, are a member of World 50, a collaborative organization of global executives, serve on the board of Hubble Inc., and are a member of both the Business Roundtable and the Economic Club of New York. You have given back to the country that nurtured your success, sitting on the board of directors of the AT Children's Project, an organization that raises awareness and funds for a rare genetic disease, and you have participated in numerous other charitable endeavors throughout the region and across the country. You have given your time to speak to and support the efforts of students at Montclair State University, and under your leadership, ADP has continued its long-term corporate support for the university. In recognition of your achievements, Montclair State University is proud to bestow upon you Carlos Rodriguez the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa.
Thank you, President Cole. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the State of New Jersey and the Board of Trustees of Montclair State University, and upon the recommendation of the President and faculty, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters honoris causa, with all the rights, duties, privileges, and immunities thereunto appertaining, of which this diploma is the written witness. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Kuss, for those kind words and that kind introduction, and I thank you for this recognition. I'm truly honored. President Cole, Dean Fickey, faculty, students, family and friends of the class of 2017, it's wonderful to be with you here tonight. To the graduates, congratulations. You have so much to be proud of. Take it all in today, because I know that many of you, like me, it'll be back to work tomorrow. But I think that's a good thing. I am reminded that this year marks the 20th anniversary of the graduate school's creation. To the administration and to Dean Fickey, let me thank you for all you've done to build this incredible melting pot for talent here in our state. I can think of no better sign of that success than our gathering here tonight. We celebrate with more than 500 graduates in this room who are prepared to make an even greater difference in the workforce, benefiting their families, their communities, our world. Let me also say, as the CEO of a New Jersey-based Fortune 250 company, I am profoundly grateful for the impact Montclair State has had in the development of talent here in our state. At ADP, we've been proud to employ many Montclair State graduates over the years, many who are with our company today. And I'm thankful for the role Montclair State plays in our communities. In particular, its commitment to helping Hispanic students successfully navigate the path to college, and the overarching commitment of the university to helping first-generation college students succeed. That is so incredibly important, and I say that because I've lived it. I am one of only a handful of CEOs in this country that is a Cuban-American immigrant. I see we have some future ones in the audience. When I was a young boy in Cuba, my family was doing quite well. We lived a comfortable middle-class lifestyle. My parents owned a small business and had several rental properties. But things in Cuba began to change, so we came to America. My family, once reasonably successful, now struggled in a new country with a new language. But America welcomed us. My father tried waiting tables, but because of his limited English skills, he took a job delivering room service in a Miami hotel. My mom found work as a clerk for a trucking company. While my parents hadn't gone to college themselves, they believed deeply in the power of education. And because I did well in high school, I was fortunate to be able to follow my older brother to college at Harvard. There, I was fortunate enough to have the support of generous donors who helped me pay for my education. Without that support, who knows where life would have taken me? Probably not standing here in front of you today. After finishing my bachelor's degree, much like you, I decided it would be helpful to get a graduate degree. So I applied to return to Harvard to get an MBA, and fortunately, they welcomed me back. I'll be honest, I had a lot of luck along the way. But when I look back on my life, there are a couple of other key ingredients that made all the difference. They are the closest thing to words of wisdom that I have to share with you today. It starts with education, which I don't need to tell you to get, but I can endorse the decision you've made. You've done the right thing, and I get that it wasn't easy. I understand that the graduate degree that you'll hold in your hands in just a moment came at the price of long days and late nights. Many of you are working a job, raising a family, and going to school at night. In our 21st century America, this is an incredible achievement. That takes resilience. What it also takes is a commitment to working hard. For me, education opened doors that I would have never thought possible. But it was hard work that helped me walk through those doors. In the work world, people always want to know, how do you get ahead? Networking is important. Building relationships is important. But for me, hard work is more important. There is no substitute. The journey you've been on to get where you are today has been one of exertion. The balancing act of going to school and working a job requires drive. Consider this training for your future. Don't take your foot off the gas. For every successful entrepreneur you see, don't be fooled. That spark of an initial idea was crucial. But even more so, the commitment to hard work over the long run to give flight to that spark took perhaps even more energy and drive. There's an old saying, opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. When I reflect on our story of growth at ADP, hard work, old-fashioned and cliche as it sounds, is at the heart of it. It's what built our business. You may not know this, but ADP, a company that today employs nearly 60,000 women and men around the world, started as a one-person business above an ice cream shop right here in Paterson, New Jersey. 5 years after opening, our company grew from having one client to 200. Today, we have over 650,000. It was old-fashioned shoe leather work that you can't fake, which built our business. It was about taking a novel idea, in this case, outsourcing payroll, creating a service around it, and bringing it to as many businesses as quickly as possible in a short window of time. Today, staying ahead of the world as it changes quickly requires that same focus. When you think about it, it's a fitting philosophy. We handle the paychecks of almost 40 million workers worldwide. We are in the business of understanding the value of hard work. While the value of hard work is lived each and every day at ADP, it's something I learned at a very young age as a kid. It's the reality that education can open doors for anyone, no matter how or where they came from. And with hard work, you can realize the opportunity. The fact that I'm standing here today before you validates everything my parents and grandparents felt about this country. Despite the hardships, they believed that the opportunities presented by America rewarded those who worked hard and got a good education. Education and hard work. As much as we question whether the American dream is still alive, this, at its core, is it. It's the reality that education can open doors for anyone, no matter how or where they started in life. And with hard work, you can realize that opportunity. With these two elements as the foundation, let me share my final piece of advice which I've learned from my own life, and that's don't sell yourself short. There's a lot of cynicism in our world today, a temptation to believe that the deck is stacked against you. Don't succumb to that line of thinking. The expectation for someone in my situation, the son of two immigrant parents living in South Florida in the 1960s, was probably not to be the CEO of a Fortune 250 company. Don't get me wrong, I think I could have been happy doing a lot of other things. But if I had followed society's expectations, I may have missed a lot of opportunities that I've been very fortunate to have. Do not sell yourself short. What does that look like in practice? In the workplace, get to know the leaders. Ask the smart but tough questions. Demand to be noticed. Let me say that as a CEO, I value these questions and this kind of engagement from my colleagues. It's one of the most gratifying parts of my job. Don't wait for the opportunities to present themselves. Seek them out. And when the opportunity arises, say yes. It's an old adage in sales, but they are pretty good words to live by. Always say yes until you have to say no. Believe in your ability to go beyond. And as you're working to get ahead, to make the most of the opportunities before you, don't forget about those behind you. I began with the notion of Montclair State as a beacon of hope for so many first-generation college students like myself. Your education has empowered you to have an impact. Use it to help another navigate the path to a place of opportunity. Whether it's that nudge or a simple vote of confidence that leads to a college application, or an internship for someone in your neighborhood, or being a mentor in the workplace. As each of us in this room prepares to walk through a new door ahead, open a door behind you. In closing, graduates of the class of 2017, congratulations. I wish you the best professionally. I also wish you much happiness and fulfillment. And thank you for letting me be part of this very special evening.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. That was a wonderful message. I now call upon Professor Domenica Desiderioscioli, our Grand Marshal, who, after 51 years of dedicated service to the university as a member of the faculty of the Department of Exercise Science and Physical Education, is retiring at the end of this academic year. Thank you for your service, Dr. Desi.
Thank you, Dr. Cole. It has been an honor to serve the university and to be chosen as Grand Marshal for this auspicious occasion. But it is an even greater honor for me to present the distinguished faculty of Montclair State University. Will the faculty please rise?
I call upon Provost Willard, yes, you may be seated, yes. I call upon Provost Willard Gingrich as we begin the conferment of degrees. I ask you, in respect for your fellow graduates, that all candidates please remain seated until all have been recognized after which I will formally confer your degrees.
President Cole, it is my privilege to report to you that the candidates here assembled who have successfully completed the curricula offered by the several colleges and schools of Montclair State University have been so certified by the university registrar, and they are recommended by the faculty to be awarded degrees in recognition of their academic accomplishments. I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Joan Fickey, Dean of the Graduate School, to present the university's doctoral candidates.
I call upon Dean Lucas and the doctoral candidates from the College of Education and Human Services. The candidate for the Doctor of Education in Pedagogy and Philosophy, Julia Jackson, hooded by Professor Maughan Gregory. The candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy in Counseling, William Brooks Baker, hooded by Professor Leslie Koyman. Richard L. Brown, hooded by Professor Dana Heller-Levitt. Dawn M. Horton, hooded by Professor W. Matthew Schertz. The candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy in Counselor Education, Connie S. Duquesne, hooded by Professor Dana Heller-Levitt. Kathy A. Shoemaker, soon to be, hooded by Professor Dana Heller-Levitt. The candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy in Family Studies, David T. Lardier, Jr., hooded by Professor Robert J. Reed. Carly A. Naser, hooded by Professor Katya Paz Goldfarb. Mohammed Hassan Raza, hooded by Professor Katya Paz Goldfarb. I call upon Dean Friedman and the candidates, the doctoral candidates from the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Dean Friedman. The candidates for the Doctor of Audiology, Rena Bloom, hooded by Professor Joan Biesing. Ashley S. Healthall, hooded by Professor Joan Biesing. Holly Lovering, hooded by Professor Joan Biesing. Kelly Erin Kavanaugh, hooded by Professor Ilse Wambach. Anna Cosgrove, hooded by Professor Ilse Wambach. Robert Schell, hooded by Professor Ilse Wambach. Talia Mizrahi, hooded by Professor Jacqueline Spitzer. Megan Eitel, hooded by Professor Faith Mogilla. Melanie Pangilinan, hooded by Professor Faith Mogilla. Miriam Saposh, hooded by Professor Faith Mogilla. I call upon Dean Prezant and the doctoral candidates from the College of Science and Mathematics. The candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy and Environmental Management: Nanchu Lee, hooded by Professor Yang Den. Rosita G. Nunez, hooded by Professor Stephanie Brockfeld. Natalie Sherwood, hooded by Professor Mayan Wu. President Cole, upon the recommendation of the faculty, I have the honor to present these candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Audiology, Doctor of Education, and Doctor of Philosophy.
Thank you, Dean Fickey. I mentioned to the student whose hat fell off that if your hat falls off, you have to start all over and do it again. Not really, not really. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the State of New Jersey and the Board of Trustees of Montclair State University, and in recognition of your achievement in fulfilling the curricula prescribed, I confer upon you as earned, this is the moment, the designated doctoral degree with all the rights, duties, privileges, and immunities thereunto appertaining, of which the diploma is the written witness. Congratulations, doctors.
Congratulations. Please be seated. President Cole, it gives me great pleasure to state that the members of the graduating class of 2017 who have successfully completed the university's requirements for the master's degree stand ready to be presented to you by their deans. Dean Greg Kant will present the candidates from the Feliciano School of Business.
Will the candidates for the master's degree in the Feliciano School of Business please stand and be ready to receive your individual acknowledgements.
Aviel Simon. Patricia Luz. Samuel Adekanye. Richard Frimpong Manso. Theodora Lawler. Ryan Borgo. Radhika Kapadia. Paul Della Vecchia. Lauren Shuto. Summer Beishen. Judith Mazzini. Majd Abusada. Leila Al-Zahrani. Nicholas Conti. Vincent Puchik, Leandro Iglesias, Karina Irula, Vladimir Korolov, David Lee, Thomas Santoro II,
Jihad Davis,
David Silva, Omar Cavanieri, Gabrielle Knoll, Tia Hanks, Sophia C., David Jones, Matthew Beagle, Jim Scaria, Jose Chigney, Alexandra Daste, Lauren Matanen, Cherie Kelly, Doreen Christine Saik, Carly Walco, Anthony Spinelli, Olgerta Lohia, Angeline Lee, Samantha Weinbaum, Adnan Server, Caitlin Thompson, Alisa Verdon, Paulina Karolak, Eric Fernandez,
Dean Daniel Gerskis will present the candidates from the College of the Arts.
Will the candidates for the master's degree in the College of the Arts please stand and be ready to receive your individual acknowledgement?
Stacy Albanese, Ronald Sousa, Afnan Sayamaldahar, Melinda Hawley, K. Anthony Lawler, Christopher Rivas, Brooke Garlick, Anne Patrice Schnackenberg, Lana Abdo, Mary Patrice Jones, Anthony Borzi, Jessica Davila, Zachary Delcamp, Megan Jean Arts, Peter Bauer, Lisa Simikowski, Jamie Wisniewski, Margie Puente, Brianna Bonds, Denise O'Shea, Alethea Wilhelm, Jordan Wilhelm,
Dean Robert Prezant will present the candidates from the College of Science and Mathematics.
Will the candidates for the master's degree in the College of Science and Mathematics please stand and be ready to receive your individual acknowledgement?
Sean Gilson, Alexa Marks, Ashley Lynn Shuntz, Crystal Wessel, Kankana Sharma Barua, Michael Restrepo, Tyler Allen, Mirna Waleed Halawani, Travis Henyon, James Lipperace, Daniel Schroeperegger, Carolyn Matthew, Sarah Pisano, Alexis Jacobson, Kimberly Rigo, Jessica Reihel, Anna Maria DeBari, Giselle Lalata, Joseph Osei, Zachary Cropley,
Shelley Anna Stewart,
Stephanie Castro, Jessica Casasnovas, Allison Mahfouz, Margot Collater, Lucia Cataldo Otieri, Maria Magdalena Sanchez, Ashley Cerrone, Wendy Neal, Craig Stefan Zimmerman, Kelly Capri Tate, Nicholas Ryan Belinsky, Blair Seidler, Tevin Rouse, Benjamin Scalera, Eric Joyce, Elizabeth Rogacki, Jonathan Chen, Sekou Kaba, Abdullah Bazaid, MD Afzal Hussain, Mohammed Sikder, Mira Shah, Kevin Patel, Olenka Dobjal, Felicia Lauren Lott, Clinton Dudley, Jason Donald Saradarian, Adam Schwartz,
Dean Tamara Lucas will present the candidates from the College of Education and Human Services.
Will the candidates for the master's degree in the College of Education and Human Services please stand and be ready to receive your individual acknowledgement?
Nicole Larson. Tanya Taylor. Margaret Barshow. Madeline Della Pesca. Melissa Faye Chait.
Marianella Martinez.
Marie Theogene. Wajiha Hayward. Sarah Ilana Lazarus. Paige Miller. Haley Smith. Carolina Brozowski. Jaleesa Jones. Deja Perpian. Deidre Hickman. Matthew Zielik. Regina Polzella. Aisha Davis. Tony Ann Doherty. Erin Garrity. Deanna Mamor. Kristen DePaulo. Francesca Ladaga. Rachel Keys. Alejandro Hernandez. Jasmine Johnson McMillan. Teresita Eldridge. Christina Mattison. Susan Ormaza.
Heather J. Fisher.
Deidre Davis. Catherine Gutierrez. Shannon Schomer. Lauren Gormley. Shantae Johnson. Joshua Gonzalez. Ashley Price. Melanie Costa-Leal. Catherine Ralston. Carrie Elizabeth Pruden. Rebecca Chuba. Ashley Safer. Khadija Williams. Zorana Kuljak. Joseph Paradise. Ann Minsky. Judith A. McLaughlin. Scott David Donner. Francesca Perrone. Lisa Cherusalapa. Desmond Stapleton. Thomas Fisher. Jonathan Grasso. Melissa Arana. Victoria Lago, Allison Furfaro, Ava Cocaro, Jacqueline Herbeck, Andrew Connors, Mary Naden, Paige Frankel, Kevin Capriolo, Marianne Habib, Dana Allegrino, Eva Apellion, Yuki Takahashi, Jatanja Bailey, Victoria Scott, Genesis Goya, Laura Escobedo, Christy Yan, Shelley Chang, Courtney Wag, Alina Berganovsky, Jaritza Jens, Donna Ayala Cancel, Kelly Ferreira, Stephanie Gomes, Alicia Guarino, Marissa Drucker, Amanda Smith, Jacqueline Zaro, Summer Horner Thomas, Kimberly Gladys, Tyler Marie Marquez, Kara Wood, Brittany Cherico, Andres Nuver, Jeremy Fishman, Ryan Berry, Shamika Shamiza Maxwell, William A. Crowell, Heather Hunkley, Christina Ramirez, Carrie Weibel, Alyssa Simon, Matthew Vega, John Tello, Adrian Perry, Maria Sarmiento, Sadia Chaudhry, Dominic Trebelli, Amanda Reel, Alexis Ray Cobb, Julio Angel Garcia, Jason Frazier, Simone Flowers, Jasmine DeWeese, Marinelli Tavares, Shavis Jacquel Harmon, Tamara Williams, Robert Sasso, Elizabeth Ann Berger, Elijah Miller, Lucy Andrea Lazio, Samantha Mazuko, Juliana Romansky, Gabrielle Carpentier, Gabriela Gutierrez, Gregory Bartzel, Kelly Ann Davis, Anthony Jorgensen, Roa Almarawani, Michael Fetroso, Joseph Bruno, Alexandra Perdue, Kelly Trachtenberg, Michael Tyler Klein, Caitlin Chaparro, Domenica Amuti, Chelsea Gonzalez, Samantha Davis, Christopher Troutman, Alexander Oliver, Leonard Clifford Auguste, Jessica Davis, Aaron Collier, Leanne Adams, Tonian Caputo, Laura Montero, Elizabeth Gennaro, Corey Kozarin, Monica Rodriguez, Ora Kemp, Robert Blanco, Renata Meyerflug, Pauline Chalet, Christina K. Pinn, Taylor Panzer, Emily Iovine, Laura Jane Scully, Victoria Buell, Tara Von Roth, Ashley Michelle Thomas, Inarini Fitria Shaya, Victoria Siriani, Ella Viola, Ginabel Olga Reyes, Craig Michael Adelhart, Dana Cohen, Kaylee Thies, Stephanie Cubero, Mark Vincent D'Elia, Kevin Riley, Matthew Fichter, Pamela Witchott, Kristen Schilleri, Christina DeMartinez, Claire Trelease, Alice F. Espinal, Archlyn Belfort, Natalie Lazou, Ismat Abbas, Kristen Lunds, Chelsea Morgan Russo, Erlinda Capillari, Nicole Barali, Sapir Rizzi, Eric Van Tyne, Yannick Smith, Ivana Jadamick, Joseph DiGiacomo, Sejal Rana, Danielle Catherine Eston, Dana Goldstein, Courtney Hubert, Patricia Leonti, Christina Debbie Padula, Maribel Medina, Alexandra Dobrowska Romanchuk, Stephen Casamento, Kristen Tarantola, Jennifer Gaggis, Samantha Boxon, Courtney Baines, Tony Ann Lavelle, Jennifer Garbo, Alexandra Pesco, Leah Odino, Deborah Flamengo, Alpha Rodriguez, Emily Soto, Laura Morshell, Jane Elizabeth Navis, Stephanie Burbano, Jasmine Valagilis, Kimberly Bauman, Mary Sanborn, David Avetta, Melissa Lawson, Pamela Corey, Sriparna Bhattacharya, Dana Monticello, Dimitra Avguladakis, Gina Di Giovanni, Griselda Almonte Delgado, Quinn Croland, Charlie Lolak, Christine Toskovich, Diana Perdomo, Jenna Emiliani, Megan Olson, Angela Pastas, Kevin Paul Lorenzo, Christopher Burrow, Marilyn Santiago Rodriguez, Richard Smith, Cicely Cooper, Mariana de Albuquerque Malaman, J.D. Cespedes, Joseph Calabria, Brianna Davidson, Alexandra Zoller, Nicole Castro, Jamie Becker, Matthew Graham, Jillian Plotkin, Caitlin Vogel, Emily Stipelkowski, Amanda Vitri, Stephen Victor, Rachel Meredith Lott, Si-Woo Kim, Danielle Stecky, Lindsay Ehrlich, Andrea Sophia Ribau, Daniel Wilkenfeld, Rachel Portelli, Joseph Carnival, Ardrika Fatim Williams, Dina Catherine Kelly, Lena Aparicio, Nicole Kay, Crisette Laverne Mercado Danta, Ashley Glenn, Kathleen Lynn Johnson, Nicole Cerrone, Jessica Catallo, Kelly Marie Johnson, Anna Blank, Jessica Taylor, Roxana Harrison Mendoza, Brooke Schwartzman, Catherine Watts, Abraham Gelb, Elizabeth Jeanette Rice,
Dean Lucas will now testify concerning the certifications of members of the class to teach.
Will the members of the class of 2017 who participated in a teacher preparation program please rise? Okay. President Cole, it gives me great pleasure to state that the members of this class have successfully completed their academic majors, a professional sequence, and the appropriate examination, and are certified and qualified to teach in the public schools of the state of New Jersey.
Dean Robert Friedman will present the candidates from the College of Humanities and Social Sciences.
Will the candidates for the master's degree in the College of Humanities and Social Sciences please stand and be ready to receive your individual acknowledgement?
Jenna Bucco, Kirsten Liddy, Leah Jeffrey, Taylor Pecorelli, Nicole Alonso, Alexandra Bush, Liliana Sonneborn, Claire Devanzo, Alan Zhukovsky, Connor McCarthy, Danielle Majiros, Melanie Ward, Mirella Tsoneva, Diane Berlinski, Megan Freer, Karen Hernandez, Alexander Kinney, Alexander Gould, Neil Franzese, Manali Pradhan, Rafa Alfuri, Carmen Lillian Rivera, Adam Boutron, Brian Alava, Amoya Bennett, Lorena Alvarez Garzona, Lauren Hinnis, Russell Keith Gerner Jr., Allison Valanis, Mirella Suarez, Jessica DaCosta, Shale Aurora Williams, Tasneem Moraktan, Desiree Merwin Bello, Erica Becker, Jared Warren, Anna Parthenia Thomas, Cindy Molina, Begonia Rodriguez Yazin, Pascal Lofaton, Leonora Humphrey, Barbara Washington, Lori Jean Satmaria, Jeanette Suarez, Mashonda Janae Johnson, Michael Manganiello, Michelle Toledo, Barbara Cheryl Bailey, Taylor McClellan Danielle, Adela Valcarcel Wilson, Luis Ivan Bustamante, Sandra Kelly, Lorraine Mendoza, Lori Muir, David Christensen, Jaritza Diaz, Angela Spiro, Crystal DuBois, Marie Felix Paul, Carolyn Kerr, Fernando Santamaria, Dunya Jafar, Kristen Habrack, Daniel Cherry, Denise Galianos, Amanda Engelhart, Jenna Tafuri, Amy Bindra, Jessica Artis, Erica Lee, Claudia Zadaibal, Junior Rodriguez, Christine Velarde, Stephanie Caro, Marie Dextra, Widan Abdallah, Betty Madariaga, Matthew Bosque, Danielle Conti, Katrina Milan, Rose Arzulowitz, Alethea Jones, Maria Lopez, Mark Peretti, Zena Motley Weaver, Mireille Sandrine Tahoe, Claudia Veras, Brandon Sider, Kelly Dominguez Delgado, Maisha D. Boyd, Fatin Asaf, Amanda Bradley, Michelle Romo, Talea Stevens,
President Cole, I am pleased to present the candidates who have qualified for the degrees of Master of Arts, Master of Fine Arts, Master of Arts in Teaching, Master of Education, Master of Business Administration, Master of Public Health, and Master of Science. Will the candidates for the master's degree please rise?
You want those degrees? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the state of New Jersey and the Board of Trustees of Montclair State University, and in recognition of your achievement in fulfilling the curricula prescribed, I confer upon you as earned the designated master's degree with all the rights, duties, privileges, and immunities thereunto appertaining, of which the diploma is the written witness. Congratulations, masters. You did it. Please be seated. Congratulations. Well done. This concludes the Montclair State University commencement exercises. I would ask everyone to remain seated until the recessional is complete. Congratulations again.